Okay, guys, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. Today we're going to we take the last lecture, hopefully this is the last one in the series we started last year. So last year we started a series about addiction, and we talked a lot about other things in addiction. But we did not touch on this one. We did not cover this one before. This is the first time to talk about this one. But before we start, we're going to watch a quick video here. Hopefully the TVs are on all the way.
Walk down any street, any mall, any hallway, everyone is bowing to their screen. Our devices are beeping, buzzing, begging us to swipe, like, love, tweet, retweet, send, reply, forward. But Al and Christina from Michigan think their 14-year-old son Josh has a real problem. Walk down any street, any mall, any hallway, everyone is bowing to their screen. Our devices are beeping, buzzing, begging us to swipe, like, love, tweet, retweet, send, reply, forward. But Al and Christina from Michigan think their 14-year-old son Josh has a real problem. They say he won't stop, can't stop playing video games online.
What's a typical day in Josh's life?
Sleeping until 11, 12, and then he would be on until
Listen up, guys.
1, 2 in the morning.
12 hours.
Easily. He
Easily
could.
12.
Yeah.
Josh says he's playing up to 60 hours a week.
Josh has been in his room since 4 o'clock, nearly 5 hours gaming.
But why didn't you just take the computer away? I don't understand.
Because when we did take it away, there was a lot of problems in our house with his behavior.
They confiscate the computer, shut down the Wi-Fi, even remove the router and lock it in the car. Josh responds by punching the walls, or worse.
There's just a lot of anger, lots of anger.
Emotional outburst.
Yeah.
It sounds completely out of control.
Yeah, it was.
That's one video. Second, guys, stop talking, guys. Shh, stop talking, guys. Guys, just keep it down. Don't talk. Talk. Wait, listen.
First social media account when I was 10 years old. It was my Instagram, which in hindsight was way too young to start a social media account. When I turned 12, I got Snapchat, and a couple years later, I got Facebook. And those were the three main ones I used throughout my pre-teen and early teen years. I didn't start using Twitter seriously until I was like about 18, which was a good thing, thank God. In high school, I was the social media friend. Okay, maybe not like the social media friend, but like out of all my friends, I was probably the one that used social media the most. Every time we would go out, I would have to snap where I was, what I was eating. It got so bad to a point where whenever I used to sit down and eat anywhere with my friends, they would ask me if they could start eating yet or if they had to wait for me to get my photo first. I didn't realize how weird it was then, but looking back at it now, it's kind of a problem. I remember also one time somebody telling me, you know what, if I ever need to know where Michelle is, I can just check her story and I'd know exactly where she is. Because I would snap literally every single moment of every single day of my life. It was just really bad. I feel like it was just like a normalized addiction. I would never really feel guilty because everybody else around me was doing it. Especially when I was younger, I didn't really understand my limits and how dangerous that would have been to my self-confidence when I grew up. And although being...
Thank you, guys. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about something called behavioral addiction. Behavioral meaning there is no substance involved. No substance involved. Even with the stuff we're going to mention too, there is no substance. Even with the food addiction, just the behavior, eating disorder. So behavioral addiction meaning someone has a repetitive, compulsive, urging behavior. Continues on, even though there are some negative consequences. It's very urging, irresistible. I want to stop it, I can't. I want to stop it, I can't. I tried, I couldn't. I tried, I couldn't. I keep failing. And I feel I always want to do this behavior. And even though there are some consequences, negative consequence problems, I continue doing this. I keep on going. I cannot stop. Here that becomes a behavioral addiction, not a substance addiction. Okay? We're going to take some, whose phone is that? Nermeen, get it. Yalla, بسرعة. So, what types of addiction we're talking about here? Example. First, we have some examples. We have, listen up, pornography, social media, TV watching, gambling, all types of gambling, lottery, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, cards, sports betting, casino games, and then we have video games addiction, we have eating disorder, we have sex addiction, and then we have another list, shopping addiction, internet addiction, shoplifting, hair pulling, fire sitting, self-cutting. People get addicted to those types of stuff. Okay? These are real things. Some people have this. Do not laugh because someone maybe next to you or someone in the church here around you having this kind of problem, but you don't know about it. So don't laugh. This is serious problems here. Okay? So, effect on the brain. And we mentioned that before. And last time we talked about this. Addictive behaviors, they change the brain chemistry exact same way as psychoactive drugs, like heroin and cocaine. Exact same way, believe it or not. Let's see some imaging here. There's something called the SPECT. SPECT, it's a way of imaging. It's something new, type of imaging. Creates a 3D of any organ to make your doctor find out if your organs are working normally or not, functioning normally or not. So this is a healthy brain. Okay, that's the imaging of a healthy brain. This is a brain of someone in heroin or cocaine or alcohol. Okay? This is a brain on someone in marijuana. This is a brain on someone on porn, someone watching porn. This is a brain of someone having video games addiction or on video games for a long time. And this is a real imaging of people. As you can see, there is not much of a difference. Yes, it may be a little better, but still the destruction, the damage is severe for those who are watching porn or being on social media or playing video games. Question at the end. Okay? So what causes behavioral addiction? There are so many reasons that are similar to the substance addiction. So many reasons. But there are some factors only unique to behavioral addiction that makes it more common than drugs. These are very unique to behavioral addiction, makes it very common among people. Let's find out. They call it the 4 A's. 4 A's, accessibility, affordability, anonymity, and approval. Let's find out. The first one, accessibility. Okay? Behavioral addiction is not as hard to get as drugs. It's very accessible. You have it in the tip of your finger, you have it in your phone. You need to go out of the house to get it. It's right there. It's in your room. It's in your pocket. You don't have to meet a dealer or to buy, to meet someone. You didn't run out of supplies. It's all there. Billions and billions of pictures and videos and games out there for you. In your laptop, anywhere, even with gambling. You just go to the gas station and get whatever you want to get, or online to do certain things. So it's very accessible. Unlike drugs or marijuana or smoke, you have to do some effort. You have to go somewhere. You have to buy it. You have to find the right person if there's drugs. And this is very accessible. So it's easy to get. Okay? Second one, affordability. It's very affordable. You don't have to, most of the stuff we just mentioned are free. Free account on social media. You have your dad, your parents bought you a game and you have it in your room, you can use it. You don't have to pay any money to get it. Free account on Instagram or whatever you want to do. Your own game, even with gambling, they start very cheap. It doesn't cost a lot to get your link in into the addiction. Affordability is very affordable. Number 3, anonymity, meaning no one can find out it's you if you're online, or if someone is on social media with a fake account, or someone watching a video was creating a wrong birthday to be able to find things to fake it. Very anonymous. You can gamble online, no one can find out your age. You can watch things, no one can find out You're in your room, no one can see what you're watching. Very anonymous. But speaking of this, remind me of a story. Something happened with someone I know in one of the churches, a college guy. He's in jail right now. He's in prison. He was doing things on certain Facebook, dating girls on Facebook, asking for some pictures, and she's asking for them pictures and stuff. In the middle of the conversation, she mentioned that she is 17 years old. And he just ignored that. Why he ignored it? Because he already built the relationship. He became addicted to what is happening on Facebook with her. And he felt no one knows. And she said, that's a true story, and it's happened here in Tampa. And she said, I want to meet you. So they made a, like he said, okay, let's meet. So he went out to meet her. And once he got out of the car, he was surrounded by FBI agents. It was a setup. The person was chatting with him online as an FBI agent. And he slipped that word, I'm 17, in the conversation. He ignored it because he was blinded by what he was doing online. And once he got out of the car, he was arrested. Now, he's spending 3 years in jail, in prison. Not only, that's not the problem. He will be registered as a sex offender. Guess for how long, guys? Guess for how long? For the rest of his life. Meaning his future is ruined. Completely ruined. Why? Just because he was just doing things on things no one knew. But the question is, why they triggered him? Why they picked him? Why him? The FBI wanted to set up. It's not random. Probably they were watching his activities online before that. And based on this, they said that could be someone who would do something farther if he got a chance. So you don't think that nothing is anonymous. Nothing is hidden. People can find out. And they monitor this. I just wanted to share this story with you guys. And of course, this person, his future is gone. Number 4, approval. What do you mean by approval? Approval in a way, most of the stuff I mentioned, whether eating or shopping or video games, they're approved. They're legal, unlike drugs. People know this is illegal. It's very well known. But when I talk about eating disorder or shopping or video games or social media, all illegal. No one, your parents are very okay with it. There is no crime if you don't do it. Or if you do it, there is nothing illegal. So it makes people feel, you know what, everybody's doing that. That's okay, I mean, that's all right. It's nothing wrong, I'm not doing anything bad. And so it makes people feel it's okay, there's no danger in it. Even your parents would even worry, he's just playing video games, not a big deal. That's okay. But of course, that's why people keep doing it. I said questions at the end. Those are the 4 A's. What are they? Accessibility, affordability, anonymity, and accessibility, and approval. Number 5, the rush. What the rush? What do I mean by the rush? So that instant excitement, that there's something happening. I get hooked with this, get hooked on this, to get the instant rush, the pleasure, the euphoria, the feel of excitement. Same as drugs. But the problem is when people build tolerance meaning it's not affecting me anymore. So what that happen? You want to get that rush, you want to get that excitement, so you keep prolonging the time, making it over and more hours, and because I want to reach that rush, that peak that I loved in the very beginning. So the tolerance makes you what? You know what tolerance means? Your body built tolerance is just not affecting you anymore. So you keep playing more video games or watching social media. I don't feel excitement. I just keep watching and watching and watching, or porn or wherever, until I get the excitement. Sometimes people actually lose it. They just lose it. But they keep playing because they're looking for it. Like remember with the drugs, remember when I said facts or meth, people continue using drugs because it gives them pleasure. We said that's a myth. They continue doing that because you want to stay normal. They cannot survive without it. Same thing happened with it, was this type of addiction too. Number 6, stress. Of course, mistakenly, a big mistake, teenagers do that. To escape from stress, their coping mechanism is go on my phone, go play video games, watch a video, or be on social media. When they do that, they make their brain used or accustomed that when I'm stressed out, this is my way of coping with the stress. Without knowing, they make themselves addicted to it. Because now, you know what, this is what takes me out of stress. And instead of finding a healthy way of coping with stress, they run into drugs or videos or social media or stuff like that. They're training their body to be what? To be addicted to this thing. Even though it's healthy, it was okay from the beginning. But now I said, you know what? Stress, that's my only way out. And of course, statistics find out that a big correlation, a big relationship between stress and depression and digital devices, whether video games or social media. About 80% of people who are, especially teenagers, like when they spend a lot of time on social media or on games or pornography, it causes depression. About 80% of the people who do that, especially excessive number of hours. So if someone tell me, I have a depression, I feel depressed because my parents or whatever happened in school, I tell him, if there's something else going on, probably that's the reason. This is the reason. Not your parents, not work, not school. This is what's causing the depression. Number 7, boredom, which is the same thing, similar to other things. Boredom meaning what? I have nothing to do. I'm not stressed, but I have nothing to do. I have a lot of free time. And instead of using that time to build up my personality, to find something that I can do for my future, and I can learn something about the career I wanted to do, I just go into the wrong ways to kill the time, and even call it kill the time. Boredom. Number 8, media. Media, deception of media. In what way? The frequent presentations comes in the media, on the ads, on the commercials, the movies, the TV shows. It showed that these things are okay, are cool. The gambling behavior, sexual contents, and all the commercials between even sports or between a show or something, it entices you. It entices the people, excite them to go look for more sexual content. The food ads lead people to that. Their behavior is very normal, and the people start to be excited about this kind of thing. 5 seconds of a commercial, it can trigger people to do a lot of things. So media does a lot. Research suggests that time spent on social media, networking sites, is associated with body image issue and distorted eating in teen girls. Meaning the more they be on social media, they have low self-image because they compare themselves to the people they saw on social media. And they have this distorted self-image, and sometimes they commit suicide because of that, because of the time they spend on social media. Okay? What is this one? Peer pressure. Peer pressure, of course. Of course, peer pressure, we know that. We talked about this. You come to church, you go to school, everybody talking about the game, that whatever that happening, or have you seen so-and-so posted what on social media, the last post, the last game, this, and you feel, if you're not participating in that, you feel what? You feel left out. Everybody's talking about that game. Everybody's talking about that post. Let me check it out. I want to be involved with them. So you feel left out. So you continue, or you start being, you want to do that. So let's see what happened with that guy here.
Josh, you need to get off.
Okay, stop.
Midnight, 1 a.m., 2 in the morning.
You know, it's after 3 o'clock, and I told you to get off at 1.
Stop.
Josh is part of a growing trend happening
listen.
all over the world. What some call
Listen,
all over the world. What
Listen.
some call digital. Josh is part of a growing trend happening all over the world. What some call digital addiction, a hotly debated topic within the scientific community.
You have used the term digital heroin. Really? Digital heroin?
Is it that bad?
Maybe there's some shock value to that. Maybe I'm trying to shock some parents awake to say, this is a potentially addictive device. Be careful.
Josh begins skipping school.
I don't really care about school.
Al and Christina are wondering if Josh's brain can give them any clues as to what is wrong. So they take him for a functional MRI as part of a new study by Dr. David Rosenberg. His theory, yet to be proven, is that excessive gaming may change brain activity.
You press the response pad for the letter M, okay?
Dr. Rosenberg highlighted areas in red he says represent brain activity involving memory, attention, and decision-making. Josh's brain scans are troubling.
This is the brain processing center of the brain. There should be much more activity.
There should be more red.
There should be more red.
She looked at this and thought, this is a kid in trouble.
This is a kid in trouble.
So his parents decide to take a drastic step.
It's just kind of stupid. I just play video games and I have to go to a rehab for it.
And that's what happened to him. He had to go to rehab. He had to go to rehab in the middle of nowhere. Why? Because it became out of control. Shh. It became out of control. You're laughing now, but you never know. You could be one of those people who will need a rehab to get over your addiction. Because it started like in your age. It started like that. He's still in your age, but it was out of control. And he's losing, and his parents were strong enough to take an action to stop that. Because he was destroying his life, destroying his future. So what kind of signs that you see on people when they have a behavioral addiction? Number one, mood shift. You see the person sometimes is very happy, excited, sometimes very depressed, down, and when he plays, when about to play, gets very excited, or about to watch, gets very excited, about to be on social media, finally I get to look at my phone after school, the person becomes very excited, or the time is not on that, becomes very down and feel like he's missing something. Withdrawal symptoms. The person tries to stop, to quit, and he finds out that I cannot do it. I'm suffering. Something just grabbing me to be on my laptop or to be on my phone. I cannot do it. I try to quit a lot, but I feel abnormal. I feel something happening to me. I feel I'm sick. That's a psychological sign that person is having some problems here. Preoccupation with the behavior. The whole day he's thinking about this. He just preoccupied with that. When I'm going to be able to do that. When I'm going to go home and get in my games and start. The whole day he's thinking about this. After he finished, next day in the morning, he thinks about what's happening today. I spent the entire night last night, but today, what's next? Always be occupied with the games. Second one, physical. This thing is not. Just 1 second, guys. Poor personal hygiene. Of course, after a while, the person does not care about any hygiene, like he doesn't even wash his face or her face. Waking up on the bed, get on my phone and look on social media. Or get on the game on the weekend. Not even talking to anyone, even eating, nothing. And just keep having the junk food around, and my mom get me my food, whatever, and I just want to be on this. I don't care about anything else. 1 second, guys. I just want to... Sorry, guys. Thing froze. Okay? Personal hygiene. And then we have physical problems. Example, physical problems. Exhaustion. We mentioned that in the sermon last Sunday. Exhaustion. The person is extremely exhausted, always tired. And I think something wrong with me. Maybe I have health problem, health issues, but actually exhausted from watching the game or being on social media for late hours at night. Dry or red eye. Of course, this is all physical problems. Soreness of fingers, back, or neck. You wake up with a headache. You can just... I don't know what's wrong, and yawning all day, and I don't know what's happening, and I feel tired and exhausted. Some people stay on social media under the blanket for late hours at night, or watching porn, or being on games. They complain about some physical problem, and they find out, and they go to the doctor. What's happening with me? I feel sick. I'm I'm not sure what's happening. And it's because of that. We talked about this last time, if you guys remember, the prefrontal cortex, which only developed by age of what? Remember? When is this fully developed? 21, 25, 21. Before 21 years old, this prefrontal cortex is not developed. Exact same thing happened with drugs. What is this responsible for? Decision making, personality, knowing right from wrong, critical thinking, solving problem, memory. When you do this kind of stuff a lot, you're destroying this. And it's permanent damage. It is a permanent damage. The problem is with behavioral addiction, again, it's sneaky. People don't think it's a big deal. But you're damaging your brain, sadly, because in teenager time, and once the damage happened, it does not come back 100%. Sadly, I'm going to talk about this. It does not recover for 100% because it happened in an age when it's still developing. Next sign is, of course, decline interest in school performance. You start go down in grades, start to fail classes. Not only fail, maybe you go from A student to be a B student, and then C student, D student. There's some declining happening here. Why? Because I don't have time to turn on assignments. I'm delayed to turn on my assignments. I'm always spending time, instead of doing my homework or finishing my assignments, I'm suffering. I don't want to feel, I feel like the only time I'm home, I want to do these things. On my phone or my laptop or my game. Why? That makes me happy. I don't have time to turn on my assignments or do homework. I don't care about this. I don't feel like it. It's a big load. So the grades start to decline. Some people actually couldn't even graduate from high school because of behavioral addiction, because of social media or gambling or video game or pornography. Couldn't finish high school. Some people dropped out of college. They left college. They couldn't continue. Lost interest in other activities, the things that used to make you happy, like sports, you don't care anymore. Like things, hanging out with your family and talking with them. It happened, no, I don't care anymore. There's activities I used to do, but it doesn't affect, it doesn't make me happy anymore. There's things are making me happy. You know why? My phone is making me happy, so I ignore anything else. Increased aggression, as you heard the lady talking about her son, he would hit the wall, like he won his video games. And you find someone is getting angry so quick. You become more violent because you're missing something. Especially if your parents try to limit that, till you stop doing this, you become very angry. And you think you have the right to say no. No, it's my stuff. But the anger itself, being angry at them, that's a problem. When you do that. I guess as a born addict, recovered person who's used to watch porn.
I was in 3rd grade, and me and my friend was searching through the channels on cable TV, and
did you catch how old he was?
The exact channel was 99.
Did you catch his age? Did you catch his age? Listen up, guys. Listen. Don't talk. Listen, guys. It's a true story, by the way.
I was in 3rd grade, and me and my friend was searching through the channels on cable TV, and I remember the exact channel was 99, and yeah, there was a naked lady, and for some reason, being a male even at that age, it just caught our eye, and the internet became more of a thing, and I remember just searching online, and I was only like 12 when it really started to become a consistent thing, and it really became a drug to me. Like I wouldn't want to do other things. I just wanted to go right to the internet and search. The videos just don't stop, they don't stop, and I have gone through times where I wanted to be an intimate relationship with a girl, and I couldn't because I was thinking about the computer, and it really got to the point where it just broke my heart. And when you want a healthy relationship, you can't search and fast forward into a marriage. It's like, you know, you go online, you can just type in the exact girl you want to see, the exact, you know, whatever you want to see online, and you can find it exactly. You can fast forward to that next scene of whatever. And with real life, you know, it's not like that. Like, that makes no sense. Like, I promise you don't want to get started with it. You don't want to look at it. Nowadays, being clean, I feel so much more positive in my relationships, and I'm just so happy I'm not a part of it anymore, and it feels good. It feels good.
So, remember, how old was he when he started? 3rd grade. And there is a sentence he repeated twice. What did he say? Something happened, like he said twice. You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. You don't want to do this the first time. Don't want to do it. 3rd grade. And he was tempted to do other things out of curiosity, of course. And it ruined his life, his relationships. This guy is like in his 30s now. I don't know when he was recovered, but it seems very recent to the way he was acting it. Relationships, signs of video games addiction or behavioral addiction in general. The person becomes isolated, as we said, doesn't want to spend any time with anyone. Conflict with others, as we mentioned, with parents or with friends or other things to happen. Blame others all the time for not letting him spend time on his own, or blaming him for making a mistake. He blames them for the mistakes. So they flip. The guys are, when people get into addiction cycle, they're very good at blaming others instead of blaming themselves. So their parents will come to them and say something about social media or porn or games. They will be very good to get back at their parents and to convince them that you are the problem, not me. You're the one led me to this, or you're the one, nothing happening with me, it's just the way you're thinking. And they are very good at convincing. They're very manipulative, which is a very common thing with addiction. Very manipulative. They can manipulate their parents, manipulate anything around them to make them feel it's your mistake, it's not my mistake. It's your problem, not my problem. When people start doing this, this is a big sign of addiction too. Of course, spiritual signs. This person, especially on the weekend, there's a time to spend on social media or games or porn or whatever. No interest anymore in church. I stay up late all night, Friday night, Saturday night. Barely I can wake up to go to church. Even when I go to church, like I mentioned last time in the sermon, I barely can open my eyes and stand up. And I don't want to stand up. The liturgy is so boring. I don't feel anything. Why? Because the weekend for me, khalas, this is the time I'm used to. And not only just stop coming to church, I disconnect from God. I disconnect. Because if I don't come and take communion and confess or have time to pray or read the Bible, my relationship with God is khalas, it's done, deteriorated. There's no relationship anymore. Nothing. I don't care about church anymore. My parents will be dragging me to go to church. I'd be pushing myself like, just because I have something to do, I'm just gonna make it to church. I don't want to hear anything from Abuna or from the servants. And that's why I go. But I didn't want to go. If they leave me, I have nothing to do, I will not gonna go. Why? Because this is some signs of that. If you guys remember this slide here, that we talked about last time. This is the 4 things that we talked in summary. When you see any of them happening to you, any one of them, anyone, that's a sign of addiction. If the number increased, the number of times, instead of 1 week, I was doing something like that. It happened to be every 3 days, every 2 days, every day. This is a first sign. The number of times increased. Second sign, if the amount of time is increased. And instead of being 1 hour and doing this, or 30 minutes, now it became 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours. So increase in the number of times, or increase in the duration of the time. This is either one of them is a big sign of addiction. Number 3, dependency. If you want it, always preoccupied with it. This is summarize what we said. Preoccupied with it, always thinking one, like I cannot think, I'm so angry until I do what I'm going to do. That makes, I get angry on people when they take this thing from me, or physically cannot perform anything because if I have a headache and I have to do this. That's a sign. Number 4, withdrawal symptoms. I tried to quit, but then I suffered a lot when I quit. It was not an easy thing for me to do. I was suffering, I couldn't do it, I came back to it. That's the 4 sign of it. Okay? Can I quit these behaviors? Yes, of course. You can. But let me clarify one thing before you get so excited. Oh, okay, I can do it. Let me clarify those 2 things here. As I mentioned before, and I always say this to people, it's a fact, it's science. Recovery is not 100%. Sadly, especially if you start at teen, when you start young. Sadly, it's not 100%. And the younger you start with this, the more the damage. You said, I can't stop. You said, I can't stop. Right? You said, I can't stop. Right? I said that. Right? Yeah, I said, you can't stop. That is true. But the longer you stay, the more time you stay, the bigger the damage. Again, I need to clarify this because people, if it's 100% recovery, you know what? I can do it. And if I wanted to stop, I stop, and then I can do it again. I'll be always tempted. I think it's God's mercy. This is out of God's mercy that the recovery is not 100%. Why? Because if I know that this is going to help me to be 100%, khalas, it's good, I'll be always tempted. You know what? I can try it, and then I come back again. I'll be no damage. But God allowed it to be this way. You have that percentage of damage to remind you, if you continue, the damage will increase. It's not going to be 100%. And the longer you stay in it, Abuna said, I can recover, I can quit. Yes, you can, but the longer you stay, the damage increases. And it's harder to come back. But can you recover? Yes, you can quit. A lot of people quit. Yes. In order to quit, you have to know the nature of your enemy. You have to know the nature of your enemy. This addiction, whether pornography or games or social media or gambling or shoplifting, it's both. And I cannot ignore any of the 2. I cannot ignore any of the 2. It's a sin and a disease. It's a sin and a disease. I cannot say, as people say, it's I need treatment, go for it without the spiritual part. No. And I cannot say, pray about it and you quit. No. If it's a disease, it needs treatment. You need help. Sin, why it's a sin? Because the Bible is very clear. Here. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19. Or do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have from God, and you are not your own. You don't own your body. You don't own that. Remember this picture, guys? Remember this? Remember the difference? This is the person on porn, and this person on video games. That's the brain. And the Bible says clearly, if anyone defiles, destroys the temple of God, my body, God will destroy him. For the temple of God is holy, which temple you are. And this is, for people who missed the first part, who are not here, here's the healthy brain. That's the difference between a healthy brain and someone on porn or someone on a video game addiction. You can see the difference. Now what happens, you're destroying your brain. You are destroying your body, not just your brain, because of the physical symptoms too. And that's not yours. That's why it's a sin. And again, the Bible said it clearly. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not helpful. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. If there is something in my life taking control of my life, controlling me, I cannot stop it, that means I'm under the power of this person, of this thing. that means I have a problem. And everyone knows himself or herself. If this thing is controlling me, I'm always doing this, I cannot stop it, that means I'm a slave to this. I became a slave. This thing has power higher than me. So yes, it's a sin, and for a sin to be removed, to be forgiven, it requires repentance and confession, and ask help from God. Because God made it very clear, without me, you can do nothing. And there's no exceptions here. Meaning anything you want to do in life, anything you want to accomplish in life, anything you want to achieve in your life, without Christ, you cannot do it. Especially if it's a sin you want to overcome. Like this, something very powerful like this. He said it, without me you can do nothing. So for me, to get the first part, to fight the half of the enemy, have this spiritual part. And I, guys, do not underestimate this part. I have seen people in the addiction rehab. People were on drugs for many years. And you see, this guy, he's ruined. He's done. And by the grace of God, when these people surrender their life to Christ, and they really surrender and start to do the spiritual part of the program, they recover. They recover completely, I mean, in their life, but not physically, as I mentioned before. Now, forget about this one, it's okay. What about the disease part? It's a disease, meaning if you try to stop, and you try to stop, and you try to stop, but you keep falling and falling and falling in it, and you think it's out of control, and it's causing some consequence. It's causing some negative consequence in your life, causing fights with your parents, causing problems with your school. That means we have a problem here. It needs treatment. It does need treatment. I cannot tell someone who just broke his leg, go pray about it. I can't. Why? Because he needs treatment, and God created medicine for us. So when people may be surprised when I say this, yeah, God can do a lot of things. But if the things and if you try the spiritual part and it's not helping and it's out of control, then I would recommend you find treatment. Yes. And there's so many ways of treatment here. Individual treatment, like say with a therapist or a counselor, especially if it's a Christian counselor or something, they will help you. Not just the counselor, there are some outpatient programs. People can go to things, you can go to school in the morning, you can go to college, and at night you can attend some certain programs for outpatient. They attend certain classes, and they teach you about this, and to help you with this. Or something called the 12-step programs, 12-step meeting. Those are all over the place, all around us. Or CR meeting, Christian recovery meeting. You can find them online. You can find Video Gamers Anonymous, Pornography Anonymous, Sex Addict Anonymous, Social Media Anonymous. Anonymous means people go there, they share what's happening, and they read the rules of the 12 steps, and it helps people to recover. It's based on Christian principle. So I recommend something called CR instead of 12 steps, called CR meetings. People can find that very helpful. People can log in online and attend some meetings and hear people saying what they went through and how they recovered and what they're struggling with right now. This is more professional stuff here, like a real treatment. But to be proactive, if it hasn't got to that level yet of addiction, he's trying. Don't laugh at him. The guy's trying. Okay? Regular exercise. Why? This is all here after the spiritual part. This is all science. This will boost the blood flow and the, what's a BFC? What's a PFC? What's PFC? The prefrontal cortex. The area in the brain that was damaged because of the addiction. That is not developed yet until the age of 21. Which the permanent damage happened, where the critical thinking happened, where the problem solving happened. All of this. So exercising will help that area to recover quicker and faster. Physical activity, 30 minutes a day, running, doing any type of sport on a daily basis will help a lot. Will get you that excitement. It's something God created in us. This is something, thank God for it. When people tell me, Abuna, I'm depressed, I want to feel that nice feeling, I'm trying to quit drugs or something, God created something in us to release the dopamine in a very natural, healthy way, which is exercising or playing sports. And they give you the same excitement as whatever you're doing and other things that are not healthy. Practice to say no. This is very important, guys. Some people tell me, Abuna, I have a very, very weak will. I cannot say no. You can ask people to help you to say no. Or you can say no to something doable for you. I know right now I can maybe have a church or something happening on Friday or Saturday or Sunday. Maybe I can do that, to skip that day. You can do, by the way, you can trick yourself. You can trick yourself in a way that happens even in the spiritual. You can say, you know what, I really want to do it, but I'm due tomorrow. So what you're doing here, you delay in that, and tomorrow you do the same thing. You're tricking yourself. Why are you tricking yourself? Because the longer time you stay without doing this, it strengthens your will. It makes you more stronger to say no to it. After a time, you will find yourself, you stopped it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you became more stronger to say no to it. So you can trick yourself by saying, I'll do it tomorrow. Here, the urge will go a little bit, because I'm not saying I'm not going to do it. I want to do it, I will do it tomorrow, and then gives you more time to be overcoming this. Number 3, eat brain healthy diet. That's extremely important, guys. A lot of the junk food, it has a big relationship with addiction. It even promotes addiction. The junk food. Believe it or not, the amount of sugar and the calories in those junk food, it's a big factor in promoting addiction based on science and based on statistics too. So eat things are more healthy. Number 4 and the last one, you gotta find, every one of us go through stress. We all have stressful situations in our life. You gotta find something that is healthy, that you get yourself trained to do it when you're stressed out, when you're bored. Because this is the first thing you should be running to do, and instead of the games or the videos or the drugs or the marijuana or the social media or your phone. And the more you do this thing, even if you don't like it now, the more you do this, your body will be adapted to like it after time. And you'll think, I like doing this. I like doing this. So the more you do it, when the time of stress comes, when the time you want to escape of something, get away from something, you will find yourself, first thing comes to your mind, I want to do this because it makes me happy. I like it when it happens. I like it when it happens. There are so many things you can do at the time. Here's what happens with a lot of people. They say, Abuna, I learned about this, I know about this. But when the time comes, when the urge comes, when the craving comes, I cannot resist. I just straight go to that thing. I tell him that's why I mentioned the first one, the spiritual aspect of it. What does that mean? The grace of God inside me, it will give me the strength to follow this. But if I learn all this stuff is online. You can find all of this in books and researches. Easy to know about this knowledge. But who got the ability to, when the urge comes, I would go to this and say no? The one who has the grace of God inside him from the spiritual part. If you don't have the grace of God from the prayers and the spiritual practice and the Bible and the communion, you will have zero resistance. It will be just knowledge in your brain. And when the urge comes, you will just follow it blindly. You have no resistance. The resistance comes from what? The grace of God that I receive in my spiritual practices. If I learn this only and leave, Abuna said, listen to music or deep breathing or drinking water or taking a hot shower or talking to a friend, if you think this is what you're going to get you out of this, I'm telling you, you will not. Because when the urge comes, you will just dragged into it. What the resistance comes from what? I want to hear from you. From what? From what? The grace of God that you receive in prayer and other practices. And glory be to God forever. Amen.